All right, guys, read romance books because I'm telling you, you'll learn to communicate with your partner better. You'll avoid the pitfalls and traps. You'll see them coming. And you and the wife will have you and your partner have a much happier time in life if you follow these rules.
You're listening to Brazen Bookworm's Unrighteous Reading Rebellion, a reformed book snob's journey and musings through all things romance. Some language may not be safe for all ears. Frequent use of sarcasm may occur.
Can you hear us?
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Hi.
Yay! All right, I'm going to take a picture of the screen because this is pretty cool.
We'll do a control.
Here, see? No, I can do that. Because I'm old-fashioned and shit. Screenshots are for more people
I
that
can
are...
build bridges, but this technology shit had me boogered up a while ago. I'm not going to lie about it. I was stressing the hell out.
Okay.
So
it boogered you up? Is that what you said?
That's an Alabama term for messed me up.
Honey, I've lived there for 6 years, so I get it.
oh,
I just
man.
haven't heard those terms in a while.
Long time. So I'm going to do a quick intro since Julie is going to work her magic afterwards and edit all the things, but because she's awesome. But Joey, yay! Thank you so much for joining us. This is really cool. We're really excited to have you here and chatting with all the Stalker sisters. And I know you're working and we don't want to keep you too late, so we'll try and respect your time.
I'm good, man. Hotel. Boots are off. I'm good. I'm all y'all's.
Okay, sweet.
Can we turn him up?
Can we turn him up?
Turn us up.
Can we turn us up so
I
we can
can't.
hear him better? Do I have to adjust my volume? Hold on. I got to adjust my volume because we're old. All right. Is that better?
That's better.
And I have to let you all know, because I am in the state of Maryland, I have to have it on the recording that I'm telling you that I'm recording you.
Do you need a verbal or a physical?
You just could give me like a thumbs up that you know that we're recording and it's audio and video. Video, I don't need your permission. I can take pictures and shoot video of whatever the hell I want. But in the state of Maryland, if you want to audio record someone, you have to tell them that you're audio recording them and get their permission. So I'm going to, sweet. So, and everybody, if you're on, you can, get out. No. So if you're staying on, if you don't want to be recorded, you have to leave. If you're staying on, I'm going to take that as express consent that you're being recorded. And we're going to jump right into who's messing around the document. Okay, Ron's jumping around the document. So we're going to jump right in and just super excited to have Joey. So Joey is the Book Bubba and is joining us tonight with the entire Stalker Sisters crew. So we're just going to take a minute to do a real quick round robin intro. And I'm Michelle, and I am Brazen Bookworm, and
Julie Collier.
And
Ron House.
Susie, also known as the researcher.
and Joey, so introduce yourself and tell us a little tiny bit about you.
Joey Bowden, former Navy, former iron worker. Now I'm the quality control manager for the largest bridge manufacturer in North America. I'm the East Coast QC manager for the largest bridge manufacturer in North America. Been married 32 years, together 34.
Good for you guys.
It's been a hell of a run. It's been a hell of a ride. I ain't gonna lie about it. It ain't been easy. Some days are good, some days aren't, but it's been a hell of a ride.
It's been real, right?
It's been real interesting sometimes.
Real is good. We like real. And you know what? If it's not a journey, it's not an adventure, it's not really worth it. So at least in my mind, it's not.
Man, I married a gal with a hell of a temper. You know what I mean? I married a gal with a hell of a temper, but she keeps me straight.
She's not there, is she?
Nah, she's back in Alabama.
Yeah, so Joey's traveling for work and has agreed to talk to us while he's traveling. So even more thanks for doing that, because I know travel is rough. We just came back from Florida and Julie went back to Cincinnati and I came home, and now Julie's in Baltimore and now we're all going to Philly tomorrow. Ron's been on the road all day. But this is the kind of stuff I live for. So I'm just really happy we're here.
I absolutely hate we're missing Philly this year. We had an absolute ball last year.
Yeah.
Absolute
It was
ball.
great. It was great meeting you.
It was. I mean, I met so many people in person and got hugs from so many people that I only knew like online. And that community was so embracing. And it was a shock, really, to be honest with you, as a dude in that world, to be kind of embraced and, let in the door, so to speak. It's pretty cool.
I love that. And Julie and I were talking about this earlier, thinking about going back to indies. And, Joey and I had been friends online for, I guess, about a year, met through, I think, Brittany's group, through the Book Babes and Bubba, and finally got a chance to meet at indies. And I was so nervous about going to indies that my sister went with me to hold my hand through my anxiety. And then when I walked upstairs and I was looking for the check-in spot and I saw this cowboy hat and I went, Joey's here. And I instantly went, I just felt this sense of relief that somebody I knew was there and I could identify you like I was like, oh God, now he's going to think I'm some weirdo because I'm just going to sit there and follow Joey around.
I'm walking in the street. I come out of the hotel. The wife stayed back to watch college football and drink beer and eat chicken wings. So I'm going to the book sign and she's drinking beer, And I'm walking in the street and I'm lost in the goat, right? And I see this girl wearing an Alpha hoodie from Claire Kingsley's group. And I went, okay, I know my people. I got somebody I know. And then she helped me get up, navigate upstairs and all that, whatever. But it was kind of cool as hell, really.
Yeah, it really is. We talk about this all the time. I've been in the book world for a few years now, and the amount of friends that you make online and you actually feel like you're close, and you've never met in your life. And then you go to an event like that and it's like, oh, now I can, actually see these people. And
Yeah,
it's just really neat.
Funny. We're doing the touristy thing. We're bouncing around Philly, doing all the Rocky steps, just whatever, the Philly cheesesteak thing, whatever. And my wife was like tripping out because so many people would say, Joey, whatever, can I take a picture? And it finally got to the point where Lisa was like, give me your phone, just get your hug. Because it was crazy.
She was a good sport.
I got so many hugs that day and that night at the bar, and then the next night when things went crazy, but I had a good time.
and it was a really neat kind of experience. I think it was the first time all of us had met each other, and we'd known each other online for a while. And, you're in a unique situation where we could have walked right past each other, and other than having seen each other's profile pictures, wouldn't recognize each other. But you're kind of like I think last year, like the one and only, well, you are the one and only Book Bubba, but you are a rarity. You are a unicorn in the romance book world. And I love that you had your own cheering section. In fact, I think it was, it might've been Nikki from Claire's group or somebody. We were joking about needing to get you your own security detail. Because we were like, everybody's going to know who he is. He's going to need his own security detail to keep people from mobbing him. And I think I was one of those people who was like, I'm just going to kind of mob Joey because he's Joey.
It was literally surreal. It was surreal to the attention and the fact that people recognized me. And I wasn't thinking there's not many 6'1", 300-pound Bubbas and cowboy hats walking around the book convention.
Definitely not romance book conventions. Maybe I don't know, a con somewhere else, but not Romance Landia. It's kind of weird. So getting into that, when did you start reading romance and why? How'd that all come about?
All right, romance. I was diagnosed with cancer. We had medical checkup before we went on our honeymoon anniversary. And we went to the mountains, done some hiking, waterfalls, whatever. Things were great. Get back, feeling good. And I had done some blood work before I left. So my doctor called me and said, hey, man, I need you to come in. Something don't look right, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And then, oh, by the way, you got cancer. We need to do this. What's your options? Cool. Okay, we're gonna do this treatment. We're not doing that treatment. So I had a lot of time, just I was mentally out there, just really. And the treatment was, I could not tell you a day I had cancer, but I felt the damn side effects of the treatment every damn day. So when I was getting, it gave me it's weird. It gave me insomnia. So I would read to like 3 a.m. get up 6:30, go to work. So I discovered through the Kindle a Regency romance was free. I was reading anything free because I normally read westerns and military sci-fi books and that kind of stuff. Typical men's adventure, that kind of stuff. Shoot 'em up, gangbangers with cigars and blondes on the arm, that kind of stuff, So I'm reading all that crap. And anyway, I read a Regency romance book. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I dig that. And this was 2019. So I got into all that. I didn't realize it was just clean and spicy romances. So I'm reading these clean romances. And then I got a Scarlet Scott romance. And it was spicy. And I was like, okay, I'm digging the hell out of this now. I can do this. I'm good.
So was that
I'll be
your
honest with you.
gateway?
That was really kind of the gateway book. Scarlet Scott's series, one of her first series, not the Suttons or anything like that, but one of her first series. And I was into that, and I got a prompt, a Facebook ad, and it was for a Claire Kingsley book called The Mogul and the Muscle, Blue Water Billionaires. And I devoured that book. I mean, like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, literally, Damn, I'm kind of cool. So I went and done that whole Blue Water Billionaire series, read those 4. And then I bounced back and I picked up Claire's books and I went through all those. And I'm working, still working. And people are giving me grief because they come in my office and my Kindle's on my desk and there's a, shirtless dude or whatever, typical romance cover. And I'm starting to catch a little flack. Well, I start blowing up a little bit, telling people what I think about, them and, I'm good doing what I'm doing. I'm cool. So I ended up reading all those series and that backlog. And I was venting. I was bugging the hell out of Nikki Quinn a lot. So I would read a book, one of Claire's books, and I'd say, that's kind of cool, but what happens next? And I would just tell Nikki, hey, this is a cool ass book. This book was really good. Tell Claire, how much I enjoyed it. And finally she said, look, why don't you just join the office? And I was like, what is that? I had no idea. There was a million author groups out there, right? I'm just reading the book and I'm not even going to her page, or I didn't know that stuff existed. My Iron Worker Navy pages are way different than most romance pages. just saying. So the stuff I was into was not just a little bit different, So I'm bugging the hell out of Nikki, and she finally said, just join the office. And
how did you get connected with Nikki?
It was something to do on Facebook, and I just saw her name was attached to like the Claire thing because I did go to like Claire's page,
Okay.
I didn't know about the group stuff. I just did like her page, and I saw Nikki for some reason. So I'm like, okay, she's got to be. I'm dealing with her. So I just started messing.
Just go straight to the top. Just go straight to the
Random
admin.
as hell. I mean, some grown dude bugging her about books. I know she thought I was insane, really, or one of those guys, you know what I'm saying? So Nikki finally said, join out. And I did and got in and I was embraced, really. I mean, I was like, welcomed, open arms, and everything was good. And I had branched out a little bit from the typical romance book, and I had tried to get into military romances. And I was losing it. I mean, I went so far as to like email an author and like, look, and I wasn't trying to be rude. I was like, Google Fu can be your friend if you use it. You don't call a Marine a soldier, okay? It was like typical stuff like this. The romance was good, the steam was good, but the other stuff was like, a little research would go a long way. And I was venting in the group one day, and Tara Carr she said, look, why don't you give Brittany Shaheen books a try? And I said, okay. So I got one of Brittany Shaheen books, whatever was out at the time, and fell in love with it. And then I backtracked and done her whole backlog. And once again, I was messaging her about how much I enjoyed her books. She had the attention to detail, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, join the babes. I'm like, what the hell's the babes? Hey, I'm a babe. but yeah, we've done all that, and then I found that kind of niche. I really like that niche. L.J. Evans, fell in love with her books. She had one out of time, and I've read 400 some books this year, so and I've averaged about 450 a year for the last 3 years. No joke. So I can't really remember a lot of names or whatever characters, but there was a book she had out, and I messaged her about how good the book was, and how much I enjoyed her attention to detail, and how much I appreciated things she got right. And hell, she sent me a signed book. I'm like, that's kind of cool, because I've got books signed by other sci-fi guys, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of cool as hell. So I'm doing that. I'm gonna start buying signed books or reading books signed.
That does not surprise me about LJ at all, because she loves to connect with her readers. And
Yes.
I'm thinking now that, wow, you really did discover a lot of these people way earlier than I did. I think I must have been following you around, jumping around.
But we counted it one day. Me and the wife were sitting, and she was laughing because I'd be on the laptop on the couch. And at the time, the medicine had me really messed up. I was going through menopause. I mean,
Okay.
I was having hot flashes. I was having mood swings. I grew boobs, little ones, but I grew boobs. And
menopause.
I could watch those videos of God, what is it? When they rescued like the pit bull puppies and the little kittens, and just be squalled. Big crocodile tears. And Lisa would come through, and she would come to the living room and look at me, and I'd go, and she'd leave me alone, and I would read. But when we got into the book world, it was funny as hell because she sat beside me on the couch, and I'd be going through these book groups I'm in. And women were asking me recommendations on romance books. And she thought that was the craziest thing. Because she doesn't read romance. She refuses to read them. She won't watch Hallmark movies. I mean, her thing is Avengers, Marvel, DC World. She reads thrillers like Grisham, that kind of stuff. She's in that kind of stuff, but she reads. But she thought it was hilarious that women were asking me recommendations on books. Dude with no shirts on, that kind of crap. But it was funny. I mean, you look back, it was kind of funny. But we got through all that kind of crap. And Nicole Mullinex said, "Hey," she messaged me, said, "Hey, there's this thing going on, book convention." I'd been to several Comic Cons, and I'm like, whatever. She's like, "Look, you really ought to do this. Claire's going to be there." So I told the wife, I said, "Look, next, November, I'm going to Philly." She's like, "For what?" I said, "Give me some books signed, and I don't know, meet some people. Hell, I don't know. I'm just, I'm going jumping off in that world both feet." And we did. We went up there, had a ball.
I think Indies last year in November was, and I'm talking to a lot of people, it was the first book convention, book signing for a lot of people, because a lot of people got into romance during the pandemic or right before it. And then everything canceled. And then everything was coming back online. And there were so many people. Indies was my first book signing. It was my first, foray out into the romance world to meet people and get books signed. And there were a lot of people there last year this was it. They were like, I need to go to something. I need to get out of my house. My favorite authors are going to be there. And it did kind of have that energy, that electricity of meeting people, getting out of the house. And it was insane, the number of people that they had there, and just that it was like everybody wanted to be there, which was pretty cool.
Well, that was the thing that got me, was just how cool everybody was. There wasn't a whole lot of agendas. There wasn't like this little click here or click there. You're not our clique, so we're not going to, deal with you, like a mean girl crap, and which I didn't give a damn. I didn't know nobody anyway. So I just kind of, bulled ahead and got in line wherever I wanted to. But I mean, not to be, but I did. And I had met Avery Maxwell online, and she had, when her first book came out, and she asked me would I do a read on it, whatever. And I liked her style, I liked her, and then we had something in common with her thing, so we would message each other, motivational speeches, or when things were a checkup, we would look at each other. you know, that kind of stuff still goes on to this day. And that's, you know, but meeting her was pretty cool because she's a cool person, and you know, she's just a cool ass person in real life, you know. So it was cool to meet her and
You
her
are
husband,
too.
Billy. Huh?
She thinks you're pretty cool too, Joey.
It was, like I say, it was cool to meet her and her husband and Philly, you know, and all that. And thank God I was a little bit taller than her, almost, because I was freaking out the first time I saw her. I was thinking, Jesus. We used
I
to kind
think
of
you
be
may have been the only one there who was as tall, at least in my world. I mean, I felt like, you know,
I'm
really
not
tiny next to
tall.
her.
I'm not tall at all. I'm only like 6'1", you know, almost 6'1" and you know, a grunt. But I was like looking at her going, okay, I hope I'm at least as tall as she is, because I'm gonna feel really bad.
Yeah. You have pictures. I have pictures of Joey and Avery together, and they're like right tall. And then I have pictures of me and Joey and me and Avery, and I'm like up to maybe like just below their bust.
I love that. I was just thinking of the picture. We just saw Avery in at Shameless, and we took a picture with her on each side of her. And I was like, man, I always thought I was kind of average. And yeah, I guess I am kind of average, but she's a presence, which I love about Avery, is that she's this presence. She's like, okay, to me, I'm a total fangirl. So she's a little bit larger than life. And I did have the big fangirl moment of, oh my God, I'm taking a picture with Avery Maxwell. And now I'm wishing I had taken a picture between you and Avery so I could kind of feel really short, but it's
It was fun meeting her. I mean, it really was. And then, I mean, Claire was cool. Don't get me wrong. I hated the fact that all my pictures had masks on. Now I do hate that fact, but I took, you know, but I did meet a lot of cool authors. I met a lot of really cool people. Went back to the bar the first night, that Friday night, and met a ton of people. It had a ball, meeting people hanging out, you know, whatever. We all went to
that bar
dinner.
was insane at the Notary.
Claire's bunch went with me. Me and my wife went with Claire's bunch to a somewhere restaurant. It was Claire. I'm sorry, it was Nikki and Alex, JL and Nick and Nicole. And it was kind of crazy because we left the restaurant and there was a bachelorette party that fell out of their limousines about the time we got out. So they want to know what we were doing there. I had to explain everything. So then I got pictures taken with all the black, you know, the bridal party. And one of them was real handsy because I'm like, you know, I'm standing behind them, like, you know, doing, and one of them got real handsy, and I was like, whoa, wait, you know.
That's the celebrity treatment there, dude. Get used to it.
Yeah.
No, don't get used to it.
That's where the security
That's the security needed to come in, right? Exactly.
That was crazy that night, though. We had a ball meeting everybody face to face, Nikki and Alex and Nicole and JL and all that kind of stuff. And we went back to the bar, and we had a good time anyway. I met a lot of people, and several people that come up and ask me if I was Joey. Well, I was messing with them. No, I'm not Joey. And then I'll go, and then you could see their face kind of like freak out or freeze. I'm like, yeah, I am. And then we get a hug, and they'd be like, you know, butthole, that kind of stuff. But had a really good time. I met some of the audiobook people, right? And I can't remember her name, but she was an African American lady, she's real bubbly. Anyway, she convinced me to do fireball shots with her.
Nice.
Have no idea who this lady was. We done a couple fireball shots at the bar, you know, drank a little bit, had a good time.
I love, you know, when you were leaving, I think it was the last day, you were talking to someone and it got onto TikTok.
Winter.
Right. Yes.
We had gone to the bar. We had went to dinner, me and the wife, and we done the touristy thing Thursday. We flew in Thursday so we could do the touristy thing Friday. So Saturday night we had like a 4:45, you know, car to the airport Sunday morning, and we were just gonna, like, you know, chill out at the room. And she goes, speaking of the room, the Notary was one of the coolest hotels I've ever stayed in. That place was really cool. So
agreed.
we get to the room, and you know, and I'm sitting there, and she goes, "You're not going downstairs?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. You know, we got to leave early, whatever." And she goes, "You got to go say goodbye to your girls." You know, like that. Well, the next thing I know, I'm just gonna have one beer with the girls, And man, next thing I know, I'm pretty good, but I'm pretty buzzed, right? So this lady, and she's asking me about why men read romance books. And I went into I did a whole, dialogue on it. And I didn't know this lady, Madam's Ass Cat. I didn't know any of these people. This little group, I'm in this subgroup, and people's just, milling around hanging out. And she just looked at me, she said, "Would you mind repeating that?" Well, I'm buzzed, I'm like, yeah, but I didn't put all the other stuff in it. I just put, a couple of highlights, and I didn't even notice she was doing, all that kind of stuff, till it was over with. And then she wanted to do a tarot reading. I'm like, I don't know about all that, but okay, cool, whatever. I'm good. I'm buzzed now. Never see this lady again. And then when I left her, Amy Dawes had come up, and I said, "Hey, nice to meet you. I like your books." And she's like, "Yeah, right. You read my books." I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And she's like, I said, "You want me to prove it?" She's like, "Well, I'm not." I said, "You ain't got to call me. I'm good. I'm good, Amy." I said, "The best book you ever wrote was Blindside." I said, "I love Mac and Freya." And she's like, "Oh my God, you read my book."
Amy Dolls.
She's like, "You read my book?" I said, "Yeah." And the Wait With Me series, that was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. The book where the guy was in the ice fishing shack was the best book you wrote of that series. And she was like, "Oh my God, you really did." Anyway, she took my cowboy hat, took a couple pictures, and we shook hands and whatever, Didn't think anything about it. Well, we get home, and I don't know, somebody in the Alpha group, somebody in one of the groups. I'm in like 15 groups, and to be honest with you, I don't know. I got all kind of stuff. I'm in several groups. Then have you seen Joey's TikTok? And Joey doesn't do TikTok. Yeah, Joey did do a TikTok. No, he didn't. You want to bet? So here's my TikTok, right? And then poor Amy, she does a TikTok at the airport, but she says I'm from Louisiana. This good old boy Joey from Louisiana. So I went on TikTok and corrected her. She was like, "It is you." I'm like, "Yeah, it is me. I was there. I'm that guy."
Material about romance novels.
All right, guys.
Okay, you guys, I'm at the airport, but I just had to pop on quick and tell you about this guy because I was there when Willow shot this TikTok. I actually introduced them. His name is Joey. He's from Louisiana. He's married. He's straight. He's got a couple kids, and he is the biggest romance fan alive. He doesn't look like it. Like, I did not think it when I saw him, but I walked into the bar last night after the book signing, and this guy with the cowboy hat stopped me. He's like, "Hey, Amy, I'm a big fan." I'm going to imitate his accent because it's delightful. And he's like, "I'm a big fan, but I wasn't going to wait in your line today to see you. So I'm glad to run into you. I really like your books." And I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, I didn't believe him. I was like, there's no way this guy reads romance. He told me who his favorite character of mine was. It's Freya from Blindsided, by the way. If you've not seen that, if you've not read that book, check it out. That's his favorite character. And then he goes, "I read for joy and laughter, but I read all your books, so I went all the way back to your London Lover series, and that one put me through some shit. My eyes were glossy during that read." So then I knew he was telling the truth, because that's totally those books. Way more emotional than the rest of my stuff, which is a lot more comedy. So it just goes to show we should never narrow a demographic down in readers, because they come in all shapes, sizes, and sexes. Like good old straight Southern boy, Joey from Louisiana.
So, and then it started getting stitched, and then it went to Twitter. It's crazy. It was crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you. In the Ironworker world, I don't know how they found out, but one of my buddies found out in the Ironworker world, and it went through that stuff, and I caught in a lot of hell over that, but in good, somewhat good humor about it. But
Well, you are an anomaly. You are a unicorn. You are a rare bird in the romance world, reader world. I know
because I'm a dude or a straight dude or a married dude. I mean,
one, because you're a
above.
guy. Yeah, one, because you're a dude. We'll go. Yeah, that's the first one. There are very few readers who identify themselves as readers of romance who are male. You're a straight dude. Yeah, that goes into it too. You're a Bubba. That goes into it too. I think, people have an image. They have a stereotype of what readers look like, and they have an image and a stereotype of what people read based on what they look like. And I was going to say, go for it, do the toss, but we do, and it is an anomaly to find someone who's in this community who looks like you, sounds like you, works where you work. There's so many things that are just different from what the norm is, and I think there's a lot of judgment that goes with it from both sides. Like, women are tired of. Go ahead.
That's the thing too, though, that I noticed that it's primarily on me because I'm a guy, right? Guys shouldn't read romance books. I don't know why. I mean, to me, it's ridiculous because one of the points I made that wasn't on the TikTok was, I mean, hell, they're a user manual. They're written by women, for women. I mean, all you got to do is read. If your wife likes a certain kind of theme of romance, hell, pick up the book she's reading. You can figure out what she's into, and you can help things along, at home. Or I'm just saying,
when you called it an instruction manual you posted about something and you called it an instruction manual, and I lost it. I think the feedback on that post was so phenomenal, and it was like the light bulb for so many people.
It's crazy to me that men don't see that. I mean, you don't have to read. You don't have to join romance book groups. You don't have to be in that world. But if you'll just pick one up and kind of get an idea about where your partner's going or where she wants to get to, then you can kind of help them along, and everything works out for both of you.
Ron's got a question on her, and I can see it. Go for it, Ron.
No, about 15%, because I've done the research, about 15% of the romance readers are men. I think what makes Joey unicorn is that he's vocal about it. We have he's one of the moderators on the Real Men Read Romance group for me, and there are a lot of guys, but none of them talk. Joey is very vocal about what he reads and what he likes about what he reads, and he's willing to reach out to authors when he finds something that doesn't set quite right. And for me, that's amazing, because not only as a PA, but as an aspiring author, for somebody to say, hey, gee, that's really not how a guy would say that, or yeah, that's not really quite how that works. That's gold. And to get that kind of a feedback. I mean, just reviews on a general basis are phenomenal, but a review from a guy who gives real quality feedback, that's priceless. That's priceless.
Well, I mean, I've noticed the stigma not only in my world, it's a stigma on me because I'm a guy who reads romance books, and I'm not ashamed of it. I don't give a damn. I got a whole bookcase full of signed romance books, and I'm proud to show them off. Got some on my desk at work, whatever. But I've also noticed a stigma. There's a stigma about women reading romance books, and a lot of from their husbands, boyfriends, partners, whatever. I just put like partners. That way I don't have to offend nobody. I mean, look, you don't have to read War and Peace. You don't. I mean, you can still be a successful, intelligent, smart person. And if you read Insta-Lust novellas that take you 30 minutes to read, and it's very little verbiage, a lot of steam and spice. Okay, at the end of the day, you're reading, you're engaging your brain, and you're happy. You're doing something that satisfies you or makes you happy. But inside the romance book world too, though, I've noticed there's certain genres or certain tropes, or not tropes, but certain genres that there's some stigma attached to those. You know what I mean? Like this group, and I'm not naming names, but this group of readers, they look down on this group of readers because it's not their thing. Well, how could you read that? Why do you like that? I can't remember who said it. One of the groups, it may have been Chris Jusius or something. The first time I ever heard it was like, "Don't yuck my young."
Yep.
And so it was like that kind of thing. And I'm like, once I started noticing, I'm like, well, this type of book, they don't like this type of book readers because it's something that makes them uncomfortable. it's something they don't want to read or not, familiar with it, but yet they're going to look down on this bunch. But at the end of the day, the whole romance book world is catching flack from their male partners or their partners or the real world because they're not reading War and Peace or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? It's ridiculous to me. I read some dark mafia books. Willow Winters turned me on to whatever that world is. And I've tried some of those. I've tried male and male books, female books. I've tried about every genre out there, and there's ones that I get, ones that I give them another shot. I'm not reading something because it's got two dudes on it. I mean, Claire Hastings, I love her. I love her books. Her books, I like. It's not my go-to. But if one of my author friends puts a book out and it's two dudes, hell, I'm gonna read it. I mean, if I give it a shot.
We talked about that when you were reading Samantha Cole, when you were doing Trident. And I was like, okay, so I really want your input, your take when you get to Topping the Alpha, because that was that male. And I was just curious to see how it fits within the group, how it fits within your vision of what the romance world is like. And we had a great conversation about it. No judgment, no, basis of, well, I can't read because of this. It was just I'll give it a shot. It might be my thing. It might not be my thing, but just because it's not my thing doesn't mean it can't be someone else's thing.
Right. I don't there's certain books I detest. I mean, they might be the greatest book out there. They may make the reader swoon and, do the whole Southern Belle thing and just, be all excited and all that. But I can't stand enemies to lovers books. I will read them, but this is coming from me as a man, my mindset, my personality. If I have a falling out with you, if I don't like you, I'm done with you. I don't give a damn if it's 1 day or 10 years. I'm still not going to like your ass. So why in the hell am I going to fall in bed with you? But that's just me.
But I love the way our personal lives and our personal experiences draw us into books or turn us off from books. It's like, based on my personal experience, this is not for me. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Because like you said, there's so many people out there. There's so many authors. There's so many books that just because it's not your cup of tea doesn't mean it, it could be your bog water and someone else's cappuccino. It's just, that's perfectly okay.
And I did. When I jumped in, I pretty much stayed mainstream for a long time and then branched off here and there, a little, subgenres, and some of them I really dug, some of them I didn't, but I'll read a Enemies to Lovers book. If it's one of my favorite authors, I'll read it because I know it's going to be good.
What is your favorite trope?
Really, to me, and being a grumpy bastard in real life, I really don't like the Sunshine the Grump books. I kind of do.
We've had a lot of fun doing live writes together.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you have moved forward on writing or co-writing something of your own.
I know life got in the way, and that's one thing I liked about. I like the best friend sister, that kind of trope. I like the light and easy trope, even if it gets messy in real life kind of stuff. But I had started. I got a synopsis. I did an outline. I got some characters and all that, and life got in the way. But I really enjoyed writing with you on Tuesday when I have a chance, because I don't know. I mean, you've offered, Tara Carr has offered, and I'm going to take you up on it. But it was cool to me when we would write or we would add to the story.
Yeah.
It's hard to put into words, but I kind of got where you're going. I mean, I could kind of, we could follow each other,
We did a real fun one
I'm doing
about a club.
I'm switching with my hands a lot now, but
we did a real fun one about the club, the
vampire.
It was one of the first ones we did about the bondage club.
Oh yeah.
That was so much fun.
Was that the one we were messaging back and forth going, okay, the spicy scenes that Joey's putting in, or was that a different one? Because we were like,
Joey's always good.
whoa,
Joey's always good for spice.
where did that come from? We were like, okay, going to read the spicy scenes. Joey's on. Okay, wait, we got to wait for Joey to post.
Yep. I have so much fun.
I really do. I mean, time work gets in the way. We've had a lot of crazy stuff going on. Work gets in my way a lot, but I really enjoy doing that. That's fun.
Yep. I didn't post this week, but yeah, I try to post one every week so that people can play and because everybody can write. I mean, people say I can't write. All you got to do is add a sentence, and it takes all the pressure off of it, and it's my favorite thing to do.
I wrote a line one time in one of the stories about it was the witching thing at midnight of next door neighbor at midnight, and I said the house it smelled like old house, old lady's Avon perfume, and jazz lettuce or something like that. You know, it was musty old house, old lady's Avon perfume, and dope. And for some reason, that resonated with a lot of people but in my mind, I'm thinking what old house smelled like. You know, old lady.
Mm-hmm.
Old lady Avon perfume.
I think that's something that everybody can kind of identify with. And when you put it in words, it's like that's one of the beautiful things. The beauties of writing is that you can take something from your mind and have all of these other people connect with it and think, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what that smell is. I know exactly what that look is. I know exactly what that sounds like. And
when I wrote it, it invoked immediately in my brain. I could smell it in my brain what I was writing. I'm going, ugh.
Words are powerful, and
That's bad.
I love it. So, okay, wait. We had some other questions, and I'm like, I think you covered like everything we were going to ask. I think you like just ran through everything just in the conversation. Because you even talked about what you read other than romance. Susie, you had a question earlier that you'd put in, but I don't think he's answered that one yet. Because we all take notes.
Yeah, let me read it. Hold on. Is there an author you haven't met yet that you'd love to meet in person?
In the romance book world or in the book world?
In general.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both is good.
Max Monroe, I love them. Melanie Shawn. When I first got into romance books, you know, I'd done the Claire, the Blue Water Billionaires, and then I had an ad pop up for a writer named Erin Nicholas, and she had a series called Sapphire Falls. Long time before her Bayou Boys and all that Bayou stuff. It was, a long time ago. A small town. It's like 12, 14 books deep, whatever. It was crazy. Anyway, I fell in love with that style of writing. And then I get an ad for a book from Hope Falls by Melanie Shawn.
I don't know her.
Fell in love with it. So I reached out to her a lot. They're sisters too, like Matt, they're sisters, but they write under one pen name. And it was the Hope Falls, and then they've done the Crossroads series, and Wishing Well Texas. There's a bunch of, cowboys and firefighters, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I stayed in touch with every time Melanie put a book. Melanie Shawn put a book out. Shauna put a book out. I immediately grabbed it because I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, I was going to dig it. I read her books, the whole series. I've read her books probably 3 times, the whole series, 3 times through. Maybe seriously. So, and there was a thing that they kind of no longer write together now. So now Shauna writes the books, and she under her name only, and publishes them. And they still have the Melanie Shawn series, stuff together, but she does a lot of stuff on her own. And I reached out one day for something. It was weird. It was on Instagram. I'd done something on Instagram, one of her books, and it was a series of Hope Falls. I'm like, I don't know why people aren't reading this series more. Y'all sleeping on it. These books are phenomenal. They don't get the love they deserve. Well, she reached out to me and she said, "Oh my God, whatever, appreciate it." So we got to chatting, and she's like, I want to send you a book. I'm like, no, I'll buy a book from you. But, she's like, well, okay, well, I'm going to send you a book. She ignored me. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So she has 2 series out about these sisters. There's 4 sisters, 2 of them on a coffee bar and some other things. And really good series. Falling into Fate or something like this, one of them. So she sent me the whole set. I bought one. I bought the Hope Falls book. I told her I was buying it and I wanted it signed, but she sent me the other 4 as a gift. Well, when she said the address, when I gave her the address, she said, Wetumpka, Alabama. I'm like, yeah, Wetumpka. She goes, oh my God, there's a show I love that does home improvement stuff. I'm like, yeah, HGTV come in and done a makeover of our little town. And she's like, oh my God, So we chatted about that. And anyway, I said, well, give me your address. Just give me a P.O. box. And she's like, well, I'm gonna give it to. I'll send the books and whatever. And we'll just don't send it to Dad, but don't give this out. That's kind of crap, because there's weird people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I would never betray that trust, So I went down to Wetumpka, and one of the stores I bought a shirt with a Wetumpka bridge on it and some other little things, and I boxed them up, sent them to her. She was stoked. I was sent. Brittany was writing before she veered off into the garden one and all that she really decided to write a series set in Alabama. And she's contacted me a lot about things to do with Alabama or certain things, and all her characters, as bad as I hate to admit it, all her characters, the Alabama bunch pulls from the University of Alabama, which is like the Antichrist to us Auburn. So I was like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I bought her a local shirt and an Auburn jersey, and I sent it to her. And I'm like, do not make the next guy from Alabama be a stupid Alabama fan. At least let him pull up to Auburn University, et cetera, et cetera. And when you wear this, think about Auburn, give some good juju. Hell, she took the damn series in a whole nother direction.
She did. She did. Those Alabama boys are still in there, but yeah, she did go in a whole different direction.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great series. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what I had hoped. It's truly a great series.
What I love about all this is the connections, and we've talked about this, and I've written about this, about how Romancelandia sometimes feels like a very small town. And it's the conversations, like I would never in my life expect to have a conversation with an author until I did. And, I wouldn't expect it to happen with Stephen King, and I wouldn't expect it to happen with Clancy, and I wouldn't expect it to happen with Brittany Shaheen or Janice Whitaker or Avery Maxwell. And then it did. And it kind of brought home how close this community really is, where you post something and an author comments, and okay, I am that weird fangirl who, when somebody comments or likes a post, I take a screenshot of the fact that they liked it or commented on it, because to me, that's like, oh my God, they liked my post, or they commented on my post.
It's validated that,
Yes.
they appreciate, or they get that you're, into them. I think the problem, or it's not so much a problem. I think one of the things that has gotten me into so many groups or dealing with so many authors is I didn't know enough not to know you're not supposed to contact them or barge in and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Or really like this? Because it's like people tiptoe around them. And I understand that as a guy, I'm not getting DMs all the time with stuff. You know what I mean? As a guy, I don't get weird messages all the time, or I don't get trolls trolling me. Well, I do get a couple on Instagram, but that's just fun because the hell with them. A guy reading romance books, I think it's funny as hell because they won't say it to my face, that kind of stuff. That's what I think. That's what I laugh about because they won't square up and say it, so piss on them. I'm sorry, excuse me. But I didn't know enough.
You're good. There's a not safe for work warning on the beginning of this, so you can say whatever you want to. We have no filters.
I didn't know enough not to know you weren't supposed to contact. Like I was just bugging the hell out of Nikki all the time, or whatever. I didn't know you weren't supposed to do that. But hell, if I had a question, hey, why did he do this? why did you do that? Or, hey, I love this. Don't get me wrong. That was cool as hell. That was, as kids say, that was dope, but
Did you get the brush off from anybody that you contacted because they saw,
yes,
oh, this is a dude and
yes,
kind of hands off?
yes. I won't call names, but yes.
Wow.
Oh.
And
I would imagine that you would. Yeah.
I really loved her series. There was a series of books that set in North Carolina. I really loved her books.
No, total brush off.
Refused to read another one.
Wow.
Refused to read another one after that.
And you know what? It becomes personal sometimes, I
Right.
think. And it's
And-
hard
and-
to,
Yeah, and I mean, really, truly, we're there in the world we're in now with people and trolls and idiots and pervs out there. I understand,
yeah.
but I was being complimentary about the book and how much I enjoyed it, and that was all it was. It was one of those kind of deals through Instagram, and I let it simmer a while, and I'm like, okay, no problem, I'm good.
That's that invisible reputation.
Mhm.
I got 50 other authors I like, and 3 or 4 really like me back, so we're cool.
So shout outs. Let's get some shout outs. Because when we were doing pre-show conversation, Joey and I, he said, so how much time I got? Because I got a lot of favorite authors. So shout outs. Talk to us about, just name some of the ones. You've said some already, but who do you absolutely love? Look, he's got a list. I love it.
He did his homework.
This is not all of them. This is just what I scratched down at work today.
Damn. So who's Joey reading? Give us a list.
All right, we'll go Amy Dawes, Avery Maxwell, Tara Carr, Janie Crouch, Riley Edwards, Claire Hastings, May Harden, Kat Baxter, Alina Lane, R.S. Gray. Love R.S. Gray. Jennifer Haynes is my new favorite. I just discovered her. I love her books.
Last
Jamie
name again?
Albright.
Haynes.
Jennifer Haynes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just discovered Jennifer Albright. Jamie Albright. Just discovered her. Went through her whole backbone.
I love it.
Tara's, I can't remember how to pronounce her last name. It's Tara Civic.
Civic. Yep.
Her latest was Don't Ghost Me. It was a Halloween book. Funny as hell. Melanie Moreland. I met her through Claire's group. Nicole Millanex. She turned me on to Melanie Moreland. Love her books. L.J. Evans. Adriana Locke. I love her books.
Love her books.
Jackie Walker. Jackie, when she started writing, she reached out a couple of times on some questions about the Navy. And then she asked me, she messaged me about some Irish sayings because, okay, I got a few. So I gave her a few. She put in her book. And then out of the blue, she asked me one day, she said, you know anything about horses? And I was like, what do you need to know? She's like, well, do you know anything about horses? So I sent her a picture of me on a horse. I'm like, what do you want? And she asked me this crazy question about when horses go in heat, do they act a certain way? Because it was going to be a part of the storyline. I'm like, this is what they do, and this is how they yada, yada. And then she put in a book, whatever.
I love it.
Lillian Monroe, Melanie Harlow, Kelly Lauren, love her books. Willow Winters, Kat Long, Shelley Sloan, Lanessa Lane she writes Lanessa Lane. She's local to Alabama. She's in right outside the part of Alabama I live in. Didn't know it. But she writes like a romantic suspense book. But her books do not have, her books go from one book to the next to the next to the next. So they're all on a cliffhanger. And
Okay.
I was in the 3rd book before I realized that happened. And I was like, furious.
Did you email her?
So pissed off at the time. I'm like, so now I'm invested. So now I'm up to 7, but I got to keep reading.
So mission accomplished from her.
Yes. Sarah L. Hudson, her astronaut books. That was one of the first ones I read too. Houston, we have a problem where space balls. It shows a astronaut holding a globe, on this, down there. Yeah, I'm trying to say on his jump.
We got you.
But her NASA books are funny as hell. I loved her. Shelley Lawrenston. I don't know if y'all know her. She writes paranormal romances. And one of her best series to me is on honey badgers. It's a family of honey badgers that live together, the girls. And it's polar bear shifters, bear shifters, all this. And you can't, they're from page 1 to page 400. It's a riot. It's just a riot. It's funny as hell. It's a riot. It's violence. It's, because they're honey badgers. Love her books. Max Monroe, Nicole Snow, Janice Whitaker, and Tegan Hunter. That's just a few of my
Nice.
favorites.
I love it.
I didn't include the ones where, I read like the one I told you about. You and I spoke about it. The female book, the series.
Yep.
The hell did I read it? June, I think I read it. I read several series, but if I only read a couple books, I like it. But most of these that I read off, I pretty much read everything they've written. And like I say, I don't have insomnia so much anymore, but I got so used to reading till midnight every night and then getting up at 6 the next morning, 6:30, whatever, that when I get home especially before time change, you go water your damn garden, you got to do your damn honeydews, cut grass. We did all that crap, man stuff. And then, me and the wife, she got this green chef stuff for a while. She and I were cooking supper together tonight, doing different dishes and trying that. So when that was over with, I read till midnight. Now, time's changed. It's dark at 5 o'clock. You really can't do no outside work. So guess what?
More time to read.
and before I've been coming to this hotel in Bristol, Virginia for about 9 or 10 years. I've been coming up here working. And, you get to know the maids, you get to know the staff, you get to know the bartender pretty good because, been here for 9, 10 years straight. And I had one of before I got a Kindle, I would bring paperbacks with me. It might be a Western book or a sci-fi book or whatever. And I'd always bring 3 or 4 or 5 books because I'd read a book a night. The little more Westerns, I'd read a book a night. And she asked me one time, she said, Mr. Bowden, why do you bring so many books when you come? You read all these? I'm like, yeah, sometimes, whatever, more than that, but whatever. And she's like, why do you bring so many books when you come? And I said, well, darling, and I wouldn't try to be condescending. My wife hates when I say that darling crap to people. But I said, well, darling, I found it a long time ago, it's cheaper to buy books and buy a new house. So when I get off work, I go to the hotel, put my booth off, I get a book. I don't go out rambling. She'd rather me spend $30 on books than,
Mm-hmm.
go to the bar and, get in trouble.
Yep. Get in trouble. Books are cheaper than bail.
About your house.
Yep. Books are cheaper than bail. So
exactly.
Better to stay behind than wind up.
I've done all that. I've done all that jail time before I met her. I was, I got locked up a lot in my younger days. But mine was honestly though, mine was never like drugs or stealing. Mine was just rednecking, man. It was drinking and fighting,
We all have a past. We all have a history.
It wasn't no big deal. Just drinking and fighting.
Every time more books get delivered to my house, I can practically hear my husband saying, at least it's not meth. So, it could be meth. It could be meth. No, it's books.
To the point now. It's
or yarn.
Now. We've got so many romance books that her bookshelf is full of her stuff. Mine's full. And I've got them stacked about 9 deep on the corner of the desk. And I got to put another set of bookshelves up. And
I have no idea what that feels like. I haven't even unpacked the books from Shameless because I don't have anywhere to put them yet. I'm about to take over more shelves in the office and I don't even know where the stuff that's on them.
I took probably 250, maybe 300 books to work. And they were all Westerns and biographies and, war books and men's adventure. Just because, and their guys, I let them use it as a library. They borrow them, they read them and bring them back. I don't care. I'm done with them because, whatever. But it would have never dawned on me to have a bookshelf dedicated to romance books ever in a million years. In a million years.
You got to send us a picture of your shelves. Send us a shelfie so we can see.
I'm good with shelfies.
We can compare what's on the shelves because we probably have a lot of overlap. And I think kind of cool for people to see what other people are reading and why you buy books. We live in such a digital world, and I definitely have more Kindle books than I have paperbacks, but I love those paperbacks. They're treasures.
I grew up on a farm in the country, and we didn't do a lot. But my dad, he read westerns when I was a kid. Grew up reading westerns. My mom read the old bodice rippers, the old Avon, or the romance books with Fabio, dude, ripped open and lady swooning. She read those kind of romance books back in the day. So I grew up reading. It wasn't something in our house that you had to read, or you didn't want to read, or what if you want to read, you read, but it was theirs because they read. So in the country, we went to the library and got 5 books at a time. I mean, hell, I'd read those in a week and go back. And then when I was like 14, my parents got divorced. 13, I moved in with my grandparents. Well, the library was like right across the bridge. It was, maybe 2 miles. Maybe not that far, but on my bike. Well, hell, I'd go down there every 2 or 3 days, get a stack full of books and ride back to my grandmother's house. And that's just something I've always done. I've read my entire life, and it was never a big deal to me. But transitioning from, I joke with the girls in another group, the ladies. I joke with them sometimes that I read a lot of romance and the happy ever afters and kind of sappy stuff. That I had to go read military sci-fi where they're blowing up planets and dueling with pistols and blood and guts and stuff just to kind of balance me back.
You got to balance the levels.
I do.
So, I think we do that too. I mean, I love a rom-com, and I'll go from a rom-com to romantic suspense to something that's like heavy and deep. But there was a time when I read, it was like all arcs, and there were 5 of them in a row that were super heavy, emotional, rip your heart out books. And I think I messaged the rest of the Stalker Sisters, and I was like, dude, you got to find me a rom-com. I need something because my levels are like, I need something to balance back out. And yes, it was Kaylee Loring, and that was exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And Ron was like, you've got to read this book by Kaylee Loring. And now, of course, I'm hooked on Kaylee Loring. And it was the Christmas one, and then it was the Valentine's one. And yes. And then I'll go through a whole bunch of rom-coms, and it's like, okay, now I've got like too many endorphins or whatever. Now I need to bring it back down to earth because
the only thing I really can't read anymore, and I guess it was a byproduct of the damn cancer meds, because they had me in an emotional wreck. I squalled over every damn thing. Is I can't, to this day, I can't read a lot of angsty type books. I don't like angsty. And there's a couple of the books I was going to finish, some of her books I was reading this week, and I can't because I read to escape the world, man. That's my escape. I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch football and hunting and fishing shows, and that's about it. Don't watch a whole lot of TV. So I read every night to escape. Well, if I'm going through cancer treatments and I don't feel good, why in the hell would I want to read about this dude losing his wife to cancer, or this lady losing her husband to cancer, and then she's gonna meet love again? All this kind of. I don't want to hear I don't read all that crap. Hell, that's either close to home. I want to read about instant lust, swooning, and boffing all over the damn house, and going out for pizza, and happily ever after.
I love it, but that's it's a good thing for people to know also, is that there's something out there where if you're in the mood, you need something that's angsty and deep and tug your heart out. And then some people just can't. And I totally get that.
I was in one of the groups, and they were like, I'm really feeling this. Give me your recommendations for all the angst. I feel like a good cry. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I don't want a good cry
thing. I hate to say it, but I think that's very much sometimes you need something that's just going to like tear your heart out, and they're out there.
I don't.
And that's okay. I love that because, like you said, there's something that everybody can read, but you know what you like and you know what you don't want to read, and you don't have to, because it's not somebody teaching you saying you got to go read this book. It's the joy of reading, and you can read whatever you want to. And I just realized it's like 8:00. Holy crap.
I'm a big guy, and don't get me wrong. I mean, men are taught not to cry. You know, John Wayne bullshit. You know, all that kind of stuff. You know, macho out. And that was a series I read last week. Took books, had me, had me swallowing a little bit. And I'm like, and they wasn't really heavy angsty. They were just a really good book, but they hit hard. You know what I mean?
There are some rom-coms. Some of the rom-coms I've read have some of the best emotional scenes in them, where you're, whether it's a little bit of angst or it's something that's just really emotional. Some of them are fantastic for that. And it gives you just that little bit, just enough. And then you can kind of keep going. It's like the Hallmark moment.
I mean, I had a little bit of my eyes were dripping a little bit, but it wasn't no big deal. But I wasn't huddled up in the corner of a blanket, sucking my thumb either when I got done with it. So I could kind of deal with it.
With chocolate in one hand and wine in the other. That's kind of my MO. Yeah. So we have some rapid fire questions we want to ask you because we don't want to keep you all night. And I know people have things to do. And
y'all got me too.
Well, Julie's exhausted. She's been on a plane since when?
I was up at 3 a.m.
Oh.
So I've yawned a lot and I apologize. It's not because you're boring. I am thoroughly enjoying this.
I really did. I thought I was boring as hell.
No, not at all.
And
Ron's been on the road like all day driving down. And Susie has a little one. So that's exhausting in and of itself.
Hey, Ron, you make sure you tell Avery I said, hey.
I will.
Y'all do.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Make sure you tell Avery I said, hey.
So let's do rapid fire questions. All right.
Hang on.
Yes.
All right, let's
all right, rapid fire. So
we've already done this, but we're gonna do it again because I like to say it. War Eagle or Roll Tide?
War damn Eagle.
Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Apple pie.
Beer.
Cherry's my favorite, but I'll take apple.
Okay.
Beer or bourbon?
Both.
Rom-com or romantic suspense?
Oh God, man, that's weird. That's a hard question because it's according to what mindset I'm in. If I've had a bad day at work or just if I've had a bad day or a bad thing, I want some shooting. I want some bang bang. I want a little violence. If things are going really good, hey, let's keep the party rolling. Give me some rom-coms,
Boxers or briefs? Boxers or briefs?
Briefs.
Okay. Breast, thigh, or tail?
Oh.
Do you know the reference?
I'm trying to see. I'm gonna go with thigh on this one.
We were taking bets on whether or not you'd know the reference.
What's the reference, Ron? Bring it.
Peckers don't have tails.
Sorry, Joey.
Hey, it's all good.
All right, who's next?
Susie.
Oh, Susie.
She's next.
Vanilla or BDSM?
What now?
Vanilla or BDSM?
Oh, that's another one of those where definitely I don't need vanilla. I don't need vanilla. Now there's some BDSM books that are really good, but somewhere in the middle, I'm good with that too. But definitely not vanilla. No. I love vanilla ice cream, and I love vanilla camels at Christmas. Other than that, no vanilla.
You want vanilla in the scoop, not in the book. Got it.
Bingo.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Christmas. I like seeing the kids open gifts and just family.
Secret Santa or White Elephant?
White elephant. We don't call it white elephant in Alabama. We call it dirty Santa. It's called dirty Santa because you're snatching away from someone.
I like it. Okay, when I wrote this question, Julia's like, "Of course it's going to be that." And now look at what he's wearing. Okay, cowboy hat or backwards baseball cap?
I'm going to catch some flack from this in the romance book world because I know a lot of you ladies swoon when some buff dude wears his damn hat backwards, you know. And one of my favorite authors, all her guys wear their hat backwards, but where I come from in the era I grew up in, if you were a welder and had a welding hood, you wore your hat backwards. If you played catcher, you had a catcher's mask, you wore your hat backwards. Everybody else wore the hat forward to block the sun in your eyes because that's what it was for. It wasn't a fashion statement. So
I love it.
So most of the time I'm either wearing this or a cowboy hat. This way. Excuse me. And that's actually, I don't know if y'all can read it. Elmore County Farm Op, a co-op where you go get your cat, cow feed and plants and that kind of stuff. So it's country boy chic right here.
I love it. I love it. Joey, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We're going to miss you at Indies this year.
Oh,
I love this y'all. I really am.
I mean, how far away are you right now from Philly?
I'm in Abilene, Virginia. So I'm 2 hours from Richmond. So then up the coast, up 95. So
yeah, he's like 6 hours out.
yeah.
I mean, come on, you can come visit us. Have a drink with us tomorrow night.
Come to the bar.
So seriously, Joey, anytime you want to write, you hit me up.
Hey, I appreciate it. We had a ball. I had a ball. I really did. I thought this was going to be a lot harder than it was, but it wasn't too bad. Y'all were
You
very
can come hang
gentle.
with us anytime.
Y'all were very gentle.
We try to make it painless, entertaining, informative, fun. Pull out all the keywords, but it's.
I think the key is just that we start chatting, just like if we were sitting at the bar drinking.
Yep.
We just chat.
I mean, like I say, we could do this whenever y'all want to. Seriously, this is fun.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. I'm thinking, my mind is going, so it's gonna be like book reviews with the Bubba, or something like that, where we're gonna have to get on with certain books come out and get your
Sister Stalkers and Bubba.
Yeah. And get
I'm
your
good with
take
that.
on different books and different things that are going on in the bookish world. Because people joke that when they listen to the four of us, it's like they're sitting in the living room with us and hearing the banter back and forth. Because this is what we do all day, typing to each other, is just chat all the time.
Like I was kind of nervous, but once y'all started, it did feel like I'm just hanging out with y'all and we're shooting the breeze. The only thing I didn't have was a beer in front of me, or it'd have been,
It's not a beer, it's a Pepsi.
Right? That water bottle, it could be vodka. Nobody would ever know,
But that's what it felt like, though. And that's the thing too. That's the thing I really like about y'all's world is it is inclusive. I mean, y'all do I never expected to be embraced or accepted. I really didn't. I thought I'd get a lot of flack because I did. Honestly, early I did get a lot of pushback. I mean, I had a couple ladies ask me, straight up message me, was I joining this group to pick up chicks?
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this out there just to put my side of it. I'm sure Ron might feel the same. Because I run a lot of groups. We're very cautious. I actually check females too. I look to see, are they in other groups, that type of thing. And a lot of that is just because we're trying to protect the people in the group. So I'm just,
my thing was, I'm in a lot of men's groups, a lot of different groups. There's so many other groups that if I was going to go down that road,
yeah,
it wouldn't be romance book world, ladies. I tell you. Just no offense, but that was not even on my radar. I'm digging on the book, I'm digging on the author, and I'm bragging, and I'm interacting in our units group pick up chicks. Really? So most of the groups I'm in, I had like a little blurb. It was like, hey, I'm whatever, former Navy iron worker, yada yada yada. I got in romance books, so and so and so and so. Bam, and I would post it in their group. You got any? No, I'm not here to pick up chicks. I've been married 32 years now with a 34, and I was scared of her, and hell no, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not stepping out. So no.
and now you're well known. So I mean, everybody's going to
Right,
let you
right,
know.
right. But when when I first started like reaching out, or they was like, well, hey, come join my group. Would you mind joining my group? No, no problem. But it was the first couple was really weird when I was getting those messages. Like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? But the one is to ask me was I ready to there to pick up chicks. That blows my damn mind. I'm like, this ain't the 80s bar scene, darling. I don't need to pick up chicks. I'm good.
But it's funny. I think it does go to some of the culture where we have to be so cautious, where it's like, okay, why is he here? What does he really want? What's the backstory? And the fact that you stuck it out, the fact that you put something together to say, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is why I'm here. To me means that you cared enough to say,
exactly.
this is important to me. And you respected that people would want to know who you are and why you're there. And to me, that means a lot, because it made me feel safer knowing, because there are some groups where we talk about some pretty intimate, deep things.
Well, and that's another thing with me though. I'm very cautious.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me in these groups, I talk a lot of trash. I do. I talk a lot of smack, and I talk a lot of trash, and some of it's very borderline spicy,
Yeah.
But I've been very adamant about not doing it as individuals, talking to individuals, just in general, shooting the bull, talking trash. And like there's certain groups I'm in, they have a weekly or monthly thing, whatever it is, where I know when I read the comment, if they say like Michelle thinks, she posts something like, hey, ladies, I've got this going on. We're doing this and he's doing that. Yada. I don't go there. I don't read them. I skip them. There's certain things where females or women in the groups, some friends of mine, they start discussing things that's happening in their life, in their home that, or, past. I go right by them. So that's not for me. The thing I always remember, I'm happy to have a seat at the table, but it's y'all's house. You know what I mean?
I love that.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I don't try to get all in y'all's business. I'm just saying, ladies in general in the group, when y'all got that kind of stuff going on, y'all discussing certain things, that's y'all's world, and no guy needs to be involved in that, especially a stranger that they don't know.
And that's a level of respect.
They feel comfortable there. If y'all feel comfortable there, y'all know y'all can discuss in a lot of those groups whatever you need to discuss, and that's a safe space for you. You're not going to get judgment. You're not going to get condemnation. You don't get advice. They're going to uplift you. They're going to pat you on your head, pat you on your back, whatever you need. But me personally, I'm just saying, me as a man, that's not my place to be there, or to read it, or to deal with it. Step out.
It's that level of respect though, Joey, that makes you the force that you are. I mean, that's the reason when you walked into IIP last year, everybody knew you, because you are a class act.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yep.
I try.
I couldn't agree more.
I try. Like I say, I don't want to, I may be chatting with you next week, and you had last week, you were talking about this going on in your life, and I don't want that in my mind, that image. So that's why I skip it.
I love that. And I appreciate that. And it's like Ron said, that level of respect is why you're still in the groups. It's why people still tag you, comment. It's why you're here right now, honestly, because you've shown a level of respect, involvement, and interest that makes you part of the group, but also sets you apart within the group, because it's a totally different thing to go into a group and feel comfortable with a bunch of women, but it's also different to be able to say, I know Joey's in this group and I'm still going to feel comfortable discussing this, because I don't feel judged. I don't feel relegated to being a certain type of person because I'm talking about this.
Right.
It's that level of comfort doesn't come easily to a lot of people, and it's developed over time. And sticking it out is important. There's a lot to be said about the fact that you're still there.
I've said that several times. I would never want the fact that I'm in a group to hinder or make someone not reach out into the group and ask questions or ask for advice and get real answers. I would never, I would never want to be that guy that would impact or impair someone from doing that just because there's a guy in the group. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty vocal about when they get to certain subjects. I'm gone. Y'all do y'all's thing.
I've seen you post on occasionally where you're like, okay, I'm here, but I'm not. I'm sitting this one out. And
yeah, I mean, that's only fair to me. You know, to me, that's just fair.
I love that.
You may have something that you really need to discuss with, and you can't talk to your family, you can't talk to your friends, but you know you can go to that group. And you can reach out to the people in that group and you're going to get an honest opinion, or you're going to get whatever you need from that group. And then you can feel better about it, or you can cry about it, whatever you need to do. But then but you're in the group, so you're insulated and nobody's ever going to get to you or bother you about that inside the group. And then once you step out and go back to your real world, whatever you need to do at home or in real world problems, then you can deal with that because you've had this safety blanket for a little while. So that's the way I look at it.
I appreciate
big old
that.
teddy bear.
Yes. Yes, I agree. You were just going to say something.
I was just, you are so appreciated in all the groups. Seriously, you're fun. We just love it. So
I appreciate it.
keep hanging out with us.
Yeah. Joey, thank you so much.
What are you reading tonight, Joey?
Oh, good question.
What are you going to read tonight?
Oh God, what's her name? Oh man, if you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. What the hell's her name?
Where's your Kindle, man?
I'm drawing a blank. Holy shit.
I stumped him.
I'm drawing a blank.
We stumped Joey. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as soon as y'all hang up, I'll go to Kindle like, hey, there it is.
We'll add it after. What's the last book you finished?
Last book I finished. I'm drawing a blank. I'm actually drawing a blank.
That makes me feel good. I feel like sometimes we read so much.
Yep.
Like she's an encyclopedia. She can be like, it'd be a book she read 3 years ago, a whole series. And she's like, oh, this dude. I'm like, what was the name of the book?
I think last Monday, my goal was 450 this year. I think last Monday I was at 407. And that's not counting books I read outside of Kindle. That's just Westerns or rereads. That's 407 this year already.
Wow.
And I literally read a book a day or a book every 2 days. And
Wow.
And they run together. I wish I had met people in the groups. There's a lady in Claire's group called Clarissa. And she has a spreadsheet where she lists every book, the trope, the subtrope, the characters, you know, what was the defining moment, or what was the angsty part. So she's got like a brief synopsis of every book she's ever written on this chart that goes back forever. And I'm like, because if you ask her, she'll tell you, hey, you know a trope, give me a recommendation for a book about a biker that's also a part-time firefighter. Well, hell, bingo, she's got you one. I'm like, I can't remember what I read a while ago.
What genre is it? Maybe that'll help us pinpoint what you're reading.
It's romance. It's romance.
Subgenre. Protector.
No.
Rom-com.
Billionaire.
Okay.
Billionaire. Damn it.
We like our billionaires.
It's okay. We love our billionaires.
She hits him. She's back into the spot. He's pulling in. They bump bumpers. She goes up to the office to do an interview, and he's a billionaire, and he's the one that run into her, and they're at the same interview because he's supposed to be interviewing her.
Okay.
I feel like I read that.
I just started it.
Susie, I
It's
think
trying
you
to-
did read that.
I
That's
feel
gonna
like I
drive me
read
buggy
that.
now.
So message us afterwards and we'll put
Yeah,
it
that's
in
gonna
the
drive me
show
buggy.
notes so that people will be like, okay, because now they're going to want to know what's Joey reading. We're going to have to start a regular thing, a regular series thing. What's Joey reading? What's the Bubba reading? Bubba's recommendations. But I am going to, oh God, it's 8:23. We keep talking and I'm like, oh my God, it's getting so late. But I think my kids are actually going to come home in a minute. The Spawns are on their way home from getting bubble tea.
That was
And,
cool last year. That was cool meeting them last year. That was because they were shocked to do the cowboy hat, read romance books. I remember that.
You're right. That's the Spawns were with me last year and they were like,
That's right.
what's up with the dude? And I was like, just roll with it. It's okay. And they did. John just said, the hubster just said they pulled into the driveway, which means Her Majesty's about to go nuts barking. So we're going to say goodnight and thank you so much, Joey. And thank you to my
Joey.
stalker sisters for hanging with us. And we'll be thinking about you at Indies this
We'll miss
weekend.
you and Susie tomorrow.
We'll have a drink.
Yes.
Drink
Please
for
do.
them. Both of you.
Yep. We're going to hold up a glass for both of you. We'll tag you. And then maybe next year we'll have to find our way to each other in another event.
I've got plans to go to something in Chicago.
Windy, I'll see you at Wild and Windy. I'll see you there.
Joey should
When-
come to Charm City.
I have been working on Joey for March. I'm still working on Joey.
If I didn't have all the stuff going on, I would love to go to Charm City. When is it again?
It's the last weekend in March, 2023.
And that's Maryland. I've been there a couple times. Work.
It's not
for
far.
work. No, I've been there for work a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
We'll all be there.
Let's
We'll
see how
all be
things
there.
roll, man. Let's see how things roll. I might make a weekend trip to Maryland. That's not a bad drive.
We would love it.
We've got a ticket for you. So whenever you decide, we've got a ticket for you. We'll have a place for you. Definitely.
Well, I appreciate it, ladies. I had a ball tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, Joey.
Thank you.
Good night, Joey.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.